man?
Oh, now I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, I got it on my phone now. Does this sound a little better to you?
Yeah, it sounds a lot better. I can hear you. I can hear you good.
Okay, awesome. Cool. I'm also recording the audio like through a actual mic on my end. Just like my side of it.
Okay.
So, actually, fuck, man. I got this new phone, and it doesn't have like a fucking output, like regular 1/8" out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hold on. I found a set of headphones. So, like, the only headphones I have are the shitty ones that it came with that I can use. And I bought all these, like, Chinese adapters.
Yeah.
And they all broke. I bought, like, 4 of them. They all broke.
Oh, damn.
All right. Can you still hear me?
I can.
Okay, excellent. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for taking time to do this. I know it's been a long time coming. A few years now we've been trying to get this going in one way or the other, and I'm glad we're finally able to do it.
Yeah, man, it's crazy because I've been for years. There's been a couple guys that have wanted to do interviews, and I've just like either been so busy or kind of just like keeping to myself and not really doing a whole lot of interviews or anything. And then now I'm sitting around doing nothing. Literally, I'm either playing drums all day or I'm mixing my drums all day. So it's great to just sit back, have a conversation, and have a beer, you know?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, and, along with that, it's like, even though it is just like one of those unfortunate situations that's going on right now around the world, I mean, I'm glad to see that you are still being active. I mean, being able to play drums, being able to mix your drums, being able to work on music, all this great stuff to be able to help when all of this eventually passes.
Oh, absolutely. I am extremely fortunate. With the place that I live, I have like a basement jam space and small studio set up. Now, if this was 2 years ago, I was living in Toronto in a little basement apartment, and I had a small studio, but I didn't have my drums, and I didn't have a digital drum kit. It was a hard time. But where I'm at now, I got land, and so I can get out and walk around the farm and stuff like that. It's really like the ideal setup for what's going on right now and being completely isolated from everyone.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, I mean that's great to see that. I mean, the fact that you are able to get outside, the fact that you are able to play, the fact you can work on music, and just all this great stuff that's going on. And there's a lot of great stuff that's been happening to you since the first time we were supposed to be doing an interview together a few years ago. I mean, since the last Crimson Shadows album, I mean, it's great to see everything that you got going on.
Yeah, since then, like, the touring's calmed down a fair bit, but yeah, I was filling in, aside from all the Crimson Shadow stuff, like I was filling in for multiple bands around Toronto. Drummers are always needed, and so I was playing for Experiment Specimen Live. I was playing for Letharo at a Hamilton. I recorded an EP with them and played with them for about a year and a half, I think. And then I started playing with Johnny No Cash and the Celtic Outlaws, and we did a tour in Germany. We had a tour planned to go out east to Newfoundland. We were actually supposed to be leaving tomorrow, but we had to cancel that, unfortunately. But yeah, I definitely keep busy, even when Crimson kind of died down and wasn't as active as a band. I still keep busy. If I'm not doing music, I just get into a drunken hole of depression. So I realized a long time ago, I was like, I need to keep doing music, or else I'm gonna end up drunk in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, it's awesome to see all the different kinds of music that you're able to do that with. And then, I remember, like, back in the day when you were first, like, asking Facebook if you thought it was a good idea to try out for Johnny No Cash, if that was, like, something that would even be of your interest. And I'm glad to see how much the band has really gained in notoriety since you were able to join up with them.
Yeah, like it's a weird subgenre that we've kind of undertaken, because it's not metal, it's not country, but we call it Death Country, you know, like, and we have a huge fan base of super supportive metalheads in Toronto and like across Canada, through the States and Germany and Europe. Like, we get orders from all over the place. We just got pockets of these, you know, like amazing fans around the world now, and it is really awesome to see people kind of embracing, like, realistically, it's for metalheads trying to write country music, and it's just what you get. You know, I never know what Johnny's going to come up with when he brings a song to us, but we just kind of make it the best it can be, and I always try to make it as heavy as possible. But you know, that's my influence of things. But yeah, it's been great, and the metal community is super accepting of it. The punk community, and even like more mainstream music fans are really digging it. So it's cool to be a part of a project that isn't just solely focused in metal, you know?
Oh yeah, and that really has to help with the creativity and inspiration too. I mean, obviously metal is such a great genre to play when you're a drummer, because you get to show off so many different sides of your personality when it comes to that. I mean, being able to show off double bass, blast, amazing fills, different kinds of cymbals, all that great stuff. But when you're able to not focus on metal for a bit, and you're able to do something that's, you know, kind of metal adjacent, but not really, and you're able to just like being able to show off a different side of yourself, I mean, it's really cool to see like all the influence that is really coming through with Johnny No Cash, and, you know, just being able to just play something else and being able to have fun with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, when I first started playing drums, it was only probably about 6 months, maybe a year before we started Crimson Shadows, and that was just me dicking around on the kit. So when we started, I was like, okay, I have to get really good really quickly, and like I have to play at 200 BPM like now. So drumming's always kind of been I don't want to say a struggle, but something I've always had to work at to keep up with, just because we're playing fast music. Like back then, at least, like 210 was fast. Nowadays there's guys going 340. I watched a video, I think it was Bleak Flesh, of a song at 340. I'm like, this is just getting ridiculous. But for me, insane. Like, I'm just, oh yeah, he's absolutely nuts. So I'm not even gonna try to compare myself to that. But it's always been something that I've always had to work for. It's never come easy, and it's really nice to be able to sit back and, like, before a Johnny No Cash and a Celtic Outlaws show, I can have a couple beers before we go on stage, feel loose, and, you know, like, just have a lot of fun up there. And, you know, that's something like with Crimson or any metal band that I play for, I just I guess I take my playing a lot more seriously, and I want every hit to be as bang on as possible. And if I have those couple beers before and I'm not as tight, like, I easily blame it on that. But with Johnny No Cash, it's just something that it's just, we're out there having fun, and we just want people to have fun with us. You know, it's not like it's not as serious of from a musical standpoint of, you know, like if you like playing metal, if your blast beats aren't fucking perfect, somebody's gonna fucking notice, you know, in the audience, compared to us. Like, we're just up there having fun, we're rocking beers, and we're there to bring the party, you know. But also at the same time, we spend a lot of time rehearsing and a lot of time like honing our crafts to make sure that it's not a complete mess on stage, even though we might be a little too intoxicated to be up there, you know. But it's a fun time anyways, and I love what we're doing.
Oh yeah, and it's definitely the kind of music where it calls for just having a great time. I mean, you know what the songs are going to be. I mean, unless it's the first time being able to check you guys out, you know, it's about having a good time, being able to play some fun music, getting that crowd interaction to go along with it. I mean, yeah, just like you said, I mean, if you're not playing the exact right double bass or blast or something like that, there's going to be, you know, other bands that will notice and they'll keep it to themselves. There's the audience members who might come up to you, oh, that was a great show, but I noticed you're kind of slipping on those blasts or something like that. But something like this, you can just go out and have a good time, and it's so great to do that.
Yeah, and trust me, man, I make tons of mistakes. We all do, but we just smile and laugh our way through it. Like we don't like get pissed off about it or anything like that. And I think that alone brings the crowd closer. And those little mistakes that you make and everything, it makes you human. Like we're not perfect by any means. We're just a bunch of guys writing songs and playing them for you, you know. So we like to have that like very intimate interaction with our audience as well. Like we party with our fans afterwards, beforehand, whatever. Like, you know, we don't think that we're any bigger, right? So that those small little mistakes and everything, if you're gonna get all pissed off about it, and then, you know, just stay home, you know. Like other than that, like we're just there to have fun, just like everyone else, you know. It's really something special to be a part of right now, and a part of my life too. Even though I'm surrounded by metal, and that's like my true love. Actually, speaking of, we opened before this whole thing went down. I think it was in the fall. We opened for Beyond Creation. So that goes to show, and we did well too. Surprisingly, we were like, all right, when we got the offer, we were like, I don't know how this is going to go, because there's all death metal, like tech death across the line, and then us, like, just in the middle of the lineup. And it went phenomenally. Like, it was crazy seeing all these guys in long hair and black shirts and arms crossed. And then they hear the acoustic guitar come through, and they're like, what the fuck is this? And by the time we're 2 songs in, they're all smiling and dancing and having a great time, you know? Like, so that was a really cool experience, I think, for all of us, knowing that we can turn all these, like, serious, like, progressive metal guys and just, like, allow them to let loose and just have a fun time, put a smile on, man. It's not all about fucking sweeps and shreds and, you know, getting out your calculator to count time signatures, man. Like, it's just about having a good time and having some beers with your buddies and your family.
Exactly, and that is what music should be about ultimately in the end. I mean, making the music that you want to make, having fun making that music, and, you know, obviously when things get back to normal, being able to play shows with bands that you enjoy, or being able to make new friendship with bands that you haven't heard of yet, or local bands, international bands, whatever the case is. But, you know, just going out there and playing the music that you care about, no matter what the genre is.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. You know, like, there's, like, I listen to, like, right now anyways, like, today, a new Black Dahlia Murder, new Aborted came out, so I'm, like, all into the death metal. But, like, a lot of days, even, like, I do listen to a lot of, like, this amazing outlaw country artist, Sarah Shook and the Disarmers, and another, like, kind of folk punk group called the Bridge City Sinners. And I'm starting to take a lot more influence from a lot of different genres and bands that I connect with as I get older as well. It's not just death metal all the time anymore, but, you know, you gotta kind of expand your mind a little bit. When you're young, you kind of just get focused, and that's all you care about. But you know, as you get older and grow up, you know, you kind of need different bands for different occasions and different feelings and different moods you may be in, you know?
Oh, very much so. And, you know, again, I'm glad to see that you are like that as well, too. And, you know, it goes back to what I was saying before. I mean, when you're able to do something like Johnny No Cash, and then when you start working on new Crimson Shadows music, I mean, it's great to be able to have, like, that rejuvenation, because you get to go back and play something that you do enjoy, which is metal, but it's, you know, you just don't have to be metal-centric 24/7. You're able to show off the different sides of you. That way, when you do get back into some metal, it's even more fun to play now.
Oh, absolutely. I will say that it is quite difficult, because Crimson did have such a long break there where we got into the groove after, or like even before our Kings Among Men release in 2014. It was around 2012 we started touring more. And then 2013, we kind of got in the groove of, like, just rehearsing before a tour. So we just get together like 2 weeks before and bang out like 5 or 6 rehearsals, and then we're on tour. And then we get home, and once the next tour was coming up, we'd start rehearsing again for it, and kind of just that touring band mentality. So it wasn't like a weekly or bi-weekly thing. And then once 2015, I believe we toured with Unleash the Archers, and once that tour was over, our vocalist Jimmy left the band. And so we weren't used to rehearsing. We started writing, which was fantastic, but I just wasn't playing as much, especially not with the band. So when I started playing with Johnny No Cash, I was jamming, I was playing, but like when we were Crimson was gearing up to do some shows, like I had some serious work to do because I was off the kit for like playing metal anyways for maybe like a month or two at a time. So it takes a lot of work to get back into it when you're not playing it constantly. And especially more, not right now, but more recently in my recent years, my work schedule has just been absolutely crazy. So the only time I really take out of working is for band rehearsals. So I've had to kind of set aside time, even if the band's not coming over, to hop on my kit and play some blast beats and all that to kick myself into shape. I love this time off right now because I'm playing like almost every day, and I have like warm up and I'm pushing my BPMs, and like I have like set schedules I do once I hop on my kit, and it feels amazing. I love it.
Oh yeah, and that's another positive to look at with everything that is going on right now. The fact that you are able to work so much on the drums, and the fact that you are able to go from like working on the pads to being on the kits, and being able to raise those BPMs, being able to rebuild that endurance and the speed, and being able to just get back to where you are and being able to push yourself further. And this is a once in a lifetime thing where you're going to have this kind of opportunity where the entire world kind of shuts down and you do have this unexpected free time, and the fact that you are taking so much advantage of it is a great thing.
Well, I do my best. I would be lying if I said I was playing drums all the time, but I do enjoy having some beverages almost every night. So, and it's the nights that we get into them a little too hard. The next day, I usually just spend on the computer, like editing stuff. I can't move. But no, it's great. And going into this new album, Crimson Shadows has had essentially written for the past couple of years. Now we released The Resurrection on March 13th, which is an EP. On Napalm Records, but we do have a full length that we're gearing up to head into the studio for. So this time I've spent doing all the pre-production tracks, which I've tried to do over the past year or so. But my work schedule, like I work like 50 to 70 hours a week sometimes, and it just gets really difficult to focus on actually laying down proper tracks. Like I'll play over the songs and everything and kind of work out my parts, but actually laying things down and getting it edited it's a lot of work. So I have, I think, 2 more songs to finish up of pre-production, which I should be done in the next day or so. It's going fantastic here. My girlfriend is actually, she knows a fair amount about audio engineering and stuff, so she's helping me engineer, which is great because I don't really have anyone else in my house that can do it. It's awesome just like taking the time to sit down and play and really focus on this new record. That way when all this stuff is lifted and we can actually book studio time. Because right now we don't know, up here in Canada, we don't know when we're going to be able to not self-isolate, So a lot of studios aren't booking right now, and so we're just kind of waiting to see. We really want this record out this year. We wanted it out last year, but that's how it goes sometimes. So we're going to be fully prepared by the time we're able to enter the studio, or at least I will be. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it is unfortunate that the new album isn't ready yet, but the fact that you are working on it now, hopefully with a release later this year, or if it has to be 2021, obviously there's a lot of extenuating circumstances going on right now, but at least in the meantime, it's great to see that the Resurrection did come out just a little bit over a month ago, and it's such a great thing to be able to keep Crimson Shadows fans happy, because it made me very happy to see that the EP was getting released, being able to show the original side and showing some amazing covers on there too. I mean, the fact that you were showing off Dragon Force and Stradivarius in the Crimson Shadow style, I thought that was just so cool.
Yeah, the Dragon Force one was a lot of fun, and we had played the Stradivarius one live several times and always got a really great response from it. It's a super catchy tune, and I'm really surprised that a lot of people don't know that song from Stradivarius. It's not one of their most popular, but it was a lot of fun doing it, and we wanted to really bring or show that these classic power metal songs can still have death metal vocals on it and can still have that aggressive edge. Like, when we started the band, we wanted to write power metal songs and put death metal vocals to it. That's it. They're not writing the heaviest riffs or most brutal. No, we wanted to write straight up extreme power metal, like fast extreme power metal, like Dragon Force, but straight up death metal vocals. Because we felt like that had never been done. And even though there's a ton of bands that have come out that are like super melodic and everything, I still feel like there isn't another band that really does it the same way we do it. As far as just like straight up, we write power metal. When it comes down to what we do, we write all the guitars and drums first, and then we just send it to Jimmy, and he writes the vocals and just screams over it. So like, we write power metal and then he puts death metal over it. That's it, man. So we wanted to kind of showcase that and show like how our early influences, which Dragon Force and Stradivarius were huge. Kind of wish we did a Hammerfall cover as well, because that would have been awesome, but maybe on the next record we'll toss that in as a bonus. But yeah, I had a lot of fun re-recording the Betrayed by Thy King drum tracks. It had been a while since I'd even played that song, so it was kind of cool revisiting it and hearing it with this new production and everything. And we had gained a lot of fans since that song was released in 2007, so we kind of wanted to just show our new fans that found out about us with the Kings Among Men and us being on Napalm now. We wanted to show them, like, this is where we came from. This was the first song that was released by the band on our first EP, and like this was the beginning, and then we're gonna have a new album full of brand new tracks, 9 new tracks for you, coming soon. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and again, it was so cool being able to take a song like that and being able to show like the new audience what you guys were about from the beginning and now where you guys are at right now. And then, yeah, just like you were mentioning with the Stradivarius and Dragon Force, and yeah, that would have been really cool to be able to see a Hammerfall song in there too. And, yeah, I mean, if that ends up happening on the next album or something like that, I think that'd be really cool to see that.
Yeah, I'll talk to the guys. I just thought of that right now, but yeah, Hammerfall was definitely another one of those bands that brought us together. There was a handful of power metal bands that kind of brought like myself, my brother Ryan, and our other guitar player Greg, as well as our vocalist Jimmy, together. And also Nocturnal Rites was another huge band that we all used to listen to. We used to throw parties at my place and have campfires, and every time the Sacred Talisman would come on at some point, Jimmy would put on the Sacred Talisman and we'd all like raise our horns to the sky. And yeah, it was always a great time, man. There's just so much power metal influence. Even though we have death metal vocals, we get put into that melodic death metal realm. But like, you'll definitely hear maybe Kings Among Men did have more of that heavy influence we were a little short on time for finishing the writing for that album because we signed with Napalm and they wanted it out as soon as possible. But this new one, we've really taken our time. We sat down, we went part by part, and just really, really focused on like the best way that we can do this new record and trying to make it as powerful as we can. So there's definitely a lot more ups and downs in this rather than it just being like straightforward all the way through. So I'm really excited about it. I think this is the best material that we've ever written in the history of the band. So yeah, and I know everybody always says that about the new record, but it's true. I've been listening to these tracks for like 2 years now, you know. So I'm really excited about it.
And you know, I believe you when you say that too. Like, I can just imagine that this is some of the best material that you guys have done to date. I mean, especially with all the time that's been going on since the last full release, and you were able to have so much time being able to work on these songs. And you know, it's just, I just imagine that's going to be some of the best material that you guys have to date. And you know, just thinking about that, those stories of being able to sit around a campfire, being able to listen to some great power metal and stuff, I think that would be such a cool music video if you guys do that for the next album. I think that could be really great, being able to do something around a campfire and then being able to make a music video around that.
Well, actually, funny enough, the Heroes Among Us video was actually filmed in my backyard.
Oh, really?
Which like for the whole video, there isn't a huge campfire going, but there is like a fire pit in the middle, and we did have a fire going, and that's where we filmed the music video. We had several different places, and they all ended up falling through, and one was like very last minute fell through, and then we had guys that came out from Montreal to film it, and I was just like, well, honestly, we can do it right here. There was a little shack, the whole shack portion where we're playing cards and drinking. We were actually drinking beer as well. Like, we went through a 2-4 of PBR, I think, so we were a little drunk by the time we finished that. But there's a little shack in the farm behind my house, so we went back there, and we literally threw that video together day of, because we didn't really have another option. We were paying these guys to come out and film a video, and we were like, what can we do? So I had a generator, and we just like went out to the back, and then we just kind of threw it together, and it ended up turning out pretty all right, I think. So you know, they did a great job.
Wow, I didn't realize I was in your backyard. I thought that you guys rented out some land to be able to do that or something. I mean, the fact that it was literally that's just so awesome.
Yeah, man, I live in the country, man. I live in like the sticks. The city's moving closer and closer by day. Like, I'm only about 45 minutes outside Toronto, so I'm about maybe like 10 minutes from the highway now, which growing up it was never like that, but I own this house with my mom, and you know, like I love it here. She lets me, or I guess her and my girlfriend let me play drums whenever I want, which is nice. So.
Oh, very much so. So, you know, again, with all this in mind, I mean, obviously with you still doing pre-production and stuff like that, and with you saying this is the best material that you guys have done to date, I mean, once everything does get rolling and stuff like that, like, what should people expect from this album?
Well, it's really difficult right now to say. The album itself, I'm hoping will be well received. We'll definitely have music video playthroughs, all that type of stuff. As far as touring and everything like that is concerned, I'm not 100% on how much we will be doing that. I'll guarantee we'll have some festival dates. We did have several festival dates lined up for this summer, some of which were not announced yet, but they will be canceled due to this whole COVID-19, which really sucks. We were really looking forward to it, and I was really hoping it would kind of kickstart us playing live a lot more, because I want to do that. I do want to be on tour, but it's difficult the place that everyone's at in the band. everyone's kind of in their mid to late 30s, kind of settled into different work, and it's kind of become a lot of I don't want to say a hobby, but touring wasn't for all of us. I love it. I'm going to continue to do it, but we'll definitely make some festival appearances, and then I'm gonna try to get us on the road. At least one big tour to support the record. Just because I want to push this band even further than we've gone before. But you can, as far as musicality on the record, you can expect, I would say, a lot more blast beats. We have songs that are the fastest songs we've ever written, and then we have songs that are the slowest songs we've ever written. So there's a lot of diversity, a ton of shredding. It's kind of, as far as vocally, it'll be in the same vein as the last record. That there's going to be some clean singing on the choruses, and a little bit through the verse or whatever, but predominantly it'll be Jimmy doing the growls, and overall, I'm just hoping our fans are still around to hear it. But yeah, we're gonna try to make this the best production as well. We're still kind of shopping around for studios for mixing and everything. We have an idea on what we're doing for the recording process, but we want to get some big guns in to mix this and make it the biggest sounding record. Yet again, we did have E.L. Levi, who's mixed some amazing stuff in the past, big name on Kings Among Men, but we really want to up the ante overall on this next record for sure.
Oh, and it definitely sounds like it's going to be, too. And, obviously there's a lot of circumstances that are going on right now preventing things, but it really sounds like you guys have, the best intentions of everything that's going to be going. So you really do get, the best production, the best mixing, the best mastering, the best songs, the best equipment, everything that you can do to really make this the best album possible. And I know you guys are more than capable of that, and that's what's got me so excited about it. And when it finally does come out, and I'm actually able to start promoting the album when that time comes, and being able to play the singles off of it, and you guys being able to go out and play shows again. I know you got to be chomping at the bit for that.
Oh, absolutely. We were supposed to do a show with Unleash the Archers, who are label mates, and we've been friends with them for probably close to 10 years now. They have lived at my house while on tour for over a week at a time, but we were supposed to do a show with them on March 16th. So the reason why we put the release date for the Resurrection on the 13th was so we had that show right after it, right, to kind of push it. It's the same idea as doing a tour, but on a much, much smaller scale. And then that show got canceled. So all of us were so bummed about it. And I've actually talked to Brittany and Scott from Unleash the Archers more recently, and they're super upset about it, but we're gonna try to make something happen together once this is all done. We have been in talks for a while about touring together again, so I'm hoping we can make this happen. It's gonna depend a lot on their booking agent and all that, but I'm really hoping that we can get on the road with those guys, because they're just phenomenal people and some of our best friends, and an absolutely amazing band. So yeah, but it really sucked that show, because it was going to be a big one for them. Headlining the Opera House in Toronto is that's a really, really big step in their career. So we're all really bummed about that, but we're all gonna come back stronger out of this, I feel, and I think not only mentally stronger, but physically and musically stronger after all this is all said and done.
Yeah, and that's what I imagine is going to happen. And even though you are taking the time to be able to have some fine refreshments and being able to just live your life, I mean, the fact that you are working on the drums and, trying to become the best drummer that you can be, being able to get back to snuff with everything that's going on with Crimson Shadows, and of course wanting to push yourself as well too, and being able to take the time to be able to practice and work on the new songs and mess around the kits in any way that you want to. And yeah, it just I imagine that first time that you're able to get back with the rest of the guys, work on the songs proper, being able to record, and of course that first show back. I mean, that's going to be such an amazing feeling after all this is said and done.
Oh, absolutely, man, absolutely. And like with Johnny No Cash and the Celtic Outlaws as well, like we jam regularly. Like that's a part of what we do, and no matter how many shows we're doing in a month or a week, like we still get together once a week to rehearse and have some beers, and it's just that camaraderie that we have that I know, myself included, and the rest of the guys are truly missing right now. But they keep saying like, oh, like we could get together here or there, and I'm like, guys, no, like we can't do that right now. We all have to stay home. Like our bass player also works in the pharmacy area, and I'm just like we all need to just like ride this out right now. It's a really low time. We're working on new material, and because I have a home studio set up, and our guitar player and Johnny himself have some studio equipment, so we're working on that, and as well as Crimson Shadows. Like my brother, our guitar player Ryan, has a home studio very similar to mine, and he's been working on getting all the guitar tracking done. He's tracking all the guitars for the album at his house, and then we'll get it reamped somewhere else. So he's actually already started the recording process for the new record, which is fantastic. And I have Jimmy just finishing up his pre-production as well at home. He kind of blanketed a closet, and he actually was telling me he got his wife to stand in the living room, and as he screamed in this closet to see if it was too loud, because he lives in a condo in Toronto. So it's but everything's good. He's gonna be finishing that up, and I'm doing shit on my end, and yeah, I'm excited to get back to the stage, to be honest. I would really like to do a Facebook Live event or something, but we all can't be in the same room right now, so really it doesn't. It's just not going to work like that. We'll probably all just wait till we can actually do a live show for the people and be face to face once again.
Yeah, and that's probably the smartest way to do it too. And just making sure that everyone is like prim and proper, and being able to have that great, amazing in-person experience when that happens. And along with that, I mean, obviously with you being able to practice on the kit and getting back to where you want to be and being able to push yourself, like, what are you currently working on the kit? Is it just like rudiments? Is it just songs? Are you messing with your setup at all? Like, how are you going about that?
Well, I have a couple side projects I'm working on with some people. So I kind of slightly focus on that. Pretty much my typical day is like I get up and have some breakfast, and I do a quick workout. Just get the blood pumping, a stretch, and then I have I use Cubase as my DAW, and I actually just have a session open that is just called Tempo Warm Up. And so I have it set for like going in. I have several different ones, but I have it usually set from 180 going up in increments of 10 BPM every 60 bars, up to 240. So I use that as my warm up, and I just kind of groove around the kit, and then I put it on a loop, so that way when it gets to its fastest, then it drops back down to 180. Then I'm like, okay, I can do like 8th notes and then into 16ths, or I can work on my blast this time. And I usually go through that cycle about 3 or 4 times, at least, maybe like 6 or 8 even. And then once I feel like I'm fully warmed up, I'll actually turn on a session and start working on it. But that's kind of how I do things. And like I said, I have multiple different tempo maps for it. So I have another one that starts at 200 and then goes up to like 260, and then I have other ones that start at like 160 and only go up to like 210 maybe. So that's kind of, I feel, is the best way for me to work on things, is just doing those small steps of getting faster, 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 faster. And then once you drop back down, it feels like it's so slow. But, I was actually playing from 200 to 260 yesterday, and once I got to the 260 and it dropped back down to 200 felt like nothing, and that's like the usual speed of most Crimson Shadow songs. So I was like, perfect, stop, and I'm going to record a song right now. So I felt completely comfortable and relaxed, and it was just it felt like butter trying to play at 200 because I had been playing at 260. So that it's kind of shifted my mindset as well on how I think about tempo. Because when you hear something at 200, immediately you can think that it's fast. But then once you start playing to something at 260, it's like 200 really isn't that fast. So the faster you play, the slower everything else gets, and your mind can kind of keep up a lot quicker. So that's why I'm trying to push my BPMs as fast as possible. Yeah, pretty much that's what I'm doing, and just having fun with it too. So sometimes I'll be playing at 260, but just playing like a slow groove, so it's actually more like a 130 beat, but just having fun. That's the main part.
Oh, and that's such a smart way to do it too. I mean, being able to have the BPMs on a loop and being able to have fun with it, and yeah, I mean, the fact that you are able to get to that point now where most Crimson Shadow songs are feeling like butter right now, the fact that you can record and it's just like it feels so natural at that point. I mean, I'm glad to see that things are getting back into shape like that.
Yeah, I am too. Because there was a little bit there, even leading up to these the Unleash the Archer show, and thinking about the shows we had in June. I was a little worried stepping on the stage, because I can nail it in the basement, just be perfect when we're jamming, but once you get onto that stage, nerves hit, maybe you're not as hydrated as you should be, or you don't have as much caffeine in your system as you did in rehearsal, and it's just those one-off shows just are really painful. I really prefer a full tour, because once you get 3 shows in, you get into this groove of things, and every night just gets better and better. But I'm really happy to be progressing my BPMs, and even if Crimson Shadows isn't touring, once bands start actually touring again, I'm really hoping that I can use some of my contacts and friends and everyone. So if someone needs a session drummer on the road, I can hop in there and do it, which is a big reason why I want to get my BPMs up past like 260 to 280, so I can be a call guy for people, because like session drummers are there's only again I think like a dozen or two out there that can play that stuff. So if I step up my game, then I'd love touring, and I love death metal or any kind of metal realistically. So yeah, I'd love to be one of those guys. I do it for more local acts and stuff like that, and learn sets within 3 or 4 days. So but yeah, that's one of my main reasons, and to make my whole life in general easier.
Oh, totally. And, again, I love that mindset that you have right there. I mean, being able to work with so many different kinds of musicians, being able to play any type of music that you want to be able to do, and, being on call like that, and, being able to learn the song so quickly to be able to go out and play shows, because there's so many things that can happen to bands, and just like you said, there's only like maybe 24 tops that are like those on-call drummers that can just like go out and play things that are at 260, 280, maybe even 300, to be able to just like go out and tour and make sure that everything's going to sound the best that it possibly can. And if you can do that, I mean, especially for the amazing bands that are in your local area, and just being able to support them the best that you can, I mean, I love the fact that you have that in mind.
Oh yeah, well, I'll be honest. Like a good friend of mine who I've toured with before, his band has been bugging me. Himself and the guitar player have been bugging me for years about getting my shit together and and getting my BPMs up and learning the heel toe and everything like that. I need to learn heel toe because they are constantly in need of drummer and other musicians and stuff like that for small gigs or touring or like all kinds of stuff. So that kind of has pushed me a little more, and just having the time. Like, honestly, I never had the time to do it, so I never thought it was even going to be possible. I only have the time to focus on the small things that I have, which is Johnny No Cash, Celtic Outlaws, and Crimson Shadows, and I also play drums for my girlfriend's project, Maya Gomez, and which is like that's a whole other interview altogether. But that's like kind of emotional pop rock and roll type stuff, which is like it's a whole other experience. That's a ton of fun to play. But yeah, and so I only had time to really focus on those projects. So now having time to focus on myself, I think is the biggest thing. Focus on what I want to do and focus on where I want to be as a musician, not just on the projects and what they are focused on, but on what I want to achieve as a musician. I think that's the best thing for myself to come out of this time right now that I'm just kind of alone in my house. I don't think I've drove a car in 2 weeks, and I used to drive every single day. So it's kind of cool. I'm digging it.
Oh, totally. And yeah, you know, again, I keep saying it, but it's so true. I mean, I love the fact that you are working so much on yourself to be able to improve yourself as a musician. That way, when everything does come out of this, I mean, you're able to work on Crimson Shadows, you're able to work on various other projects. The fact that you can hopefully become that kind of on-call drummer, you know, being able to fill in for tours or local shows or whatever the case is, and just being able to work on that and just doing what's going to make you happy in the end of it. Because I mean, especially right now when you're putting all of your energy into being able to do this, and you know, obviously with making sure that you still have sanity behind it, but the fact that you are working on yourself like this, and you know, hopefully seeing the other side of this, being able to be a better musician. I mean, if it's not now, then when?
Well, exactly. That's what I thought. And on it, like right now, the Canadian government at least is saying that they will they're giving like $2,000 every 4 months or every 4 weeks, sorry, to people who are out of work because of this. And I'm technically a freelance in AV, like. So I've been out of work for over a month now. And they said they'll give up to 4 months. So I'm thinking of just riding out that 4 months and just working on my chops and getting them up and doing whatever I can. Even if my work calls me back, I'll be like, hey, you know, I'm good. I'll sit at home, make half as much money, but you know, it'll be fine. It'll be all right. And I'll get to just play drums every day. Why not? And hopefully in the end I'll be able to like have a life that I'm actually happy with. Because happiness is for me is playing drums, drinking beer, and spending time with my lady and my dog. So that's what happiness truly is over in these parts.
Oh, I love it. And, you know, I think there's no better way to end this interview than with that. I mean, you know, knowing what makes you happy, being able to push yourself, being able to continue with that happiness, and just being able to live the life that you want to live. And it sounds like you are heading in that direction to be able to make that more, being able to do that with your entire life. And it's just so awesome to see that. And, you know, again, with everything, thank you so much once again for being able to take the time to do this. I mean, I know it's been a long time coming for us to finally be able to do this interview, and I'm so thankful we were able to make the time to do this, to promote everything you got going on, from Johnny No Cash to Crimson Shadows to everything to look forward to in the future, what may with that, and you know, everything that you got going on in your world right now. It was just amazing to get that insight, and it was just awesome to be able to talk to you.
Oh, thank you very much, man. It's awesome talking to you as well. I'm really super happy that we got to do this today, and you know, now I'm a couple beers deep, ready for a couple more, you know?
Oh, I love it. And yeah, I mean, this was an absolutely great time to be able to do this. And, just seeing how happy you are, being able to work on yourself as a musician, being able to do all these great things for when all of this is over and you're able to get back out there and fully do everything that you love. And, you got me so excited for everything that you got coming up. And yeah, I can't wait to promote everything that you got coming up when it eventually happens.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and honestly, I think that's what everybody should kind of take away from this. Everyone's being super negative, and I've been seeing a ton of stuff online that's just like, let's get things back to normal. And like I will say, especially in the States, with Trump saying, he's gonna open up the economy again and all this stuff. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like everybody is just so antsy to get back out there because they don't. Maybe it is that they don't have anything else in their lives except for just like doing that one thing, and they need that. But for me, man, this has been a godsend because I was working myself to the bone. Like I was saying, I was doing a minimum of 50 to 80 hour weeks every single week. Sometimes I would come home and my girlfriend would be in bed and I'd wake up before she woke up, and that would happen for days on end, if not weeks. So like I was working a lot, and I was happy working and happy about the money, but at the same time I wasn't taking enough time for myself. So this has been fantastic, and I'm glad I had the time to talk to you today as well. This has been great, man.